All right. So if you have more time, do you have more time?
Yes, yes, I have time. This is beautiful. We're talking Garifuna. This is Gary on talks. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
it. That's it. Okay, so I want to switch now to the I call it the second portion. I call it a game call that I came up with called Gari-On Garifuna Say, where I will show you some images and you tell me the Garifuna word for those images. And as
Oh,
we go along, we discuss, the significance of
oh,
the images.
oh! You're putting me on a test, Dorette.
All right, so let me share my screen and then we can proceed with that.
All right.
So let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, I see a screen. I see the Garifuna flag. The Garifuna flag.
Right.
Wafani
And
dira.
Fanidera. Okay, and what does the Garifuna flag mean to you?
The Garifuna flag, it's very sentimental to me because right there as it is, black on top, white in the middle, and yellow at the bottom, I can identify with that because black signifies our connection with Africa, and us as black people, as Negroid people, that is, we are connected with Africa. So, and normally, since that is the origin where civilization started, that is the root, that is our root of life and everything. So I feel like it's appropriate that we put black on top, to make it known that we are proud of our culture, and we're proud of our color, and we're proud of our complexion. The
Mhm,
white, as far as I'm concerned, it signifies peace, tranquility, calmness, to just be away from the stress of life, to calm down, to rest, relax after a hard day's work. Then you get into that peaceful mode. You're gonna get into your hammock. But badino bugre te abame bayday hatida bugre. Okay. All right. Then we got yellow, and I feel like yellow signifies to me, and this is me personally. It
mhm,
can resonate with other people, but I'm talking about me.
mhm,
How I interpret the colors of our flag.
mhm,
It represent again the fruits. The abundance of fruits when it comes to the ripe tafuna do mango, when we have abundance of mangoes or papaya, all these nice yellow looking fruits, or it means that they're ripe. Whenever I associate yellow with fruits, they're ripe and ready to eat, and we have them in abundance wherever Garinagu people lives. And I also look at the yellow as our other the other cultures that we intermingled with in Urume and the Caribbean. That's the Locono, who people will refer to as Arawak, and the Kalinago, who people would refer to who people would refer to as Carib. So these people were yellow in complexion, and so I feel like they are also represented in our flag, and that's a good thing to know that we're including our roots, we're including our people who we intermingled with, so that we can identify ourselves anywhere we go.
mhm. So this other photo is showing the Garifuna drum.
Yeah, the Garifuna drums. That's our, we call that Garaon, and that, from the look of that, it looks like it's a segunda. You see what happened with our Garifuna drum. That shows our resilience. As far as I'm concerned, that shows how resilient we were, and how resourceful we were. You know, we we look we look around our environment, and then we take what we have, like we spoke about earlier, and we just cut the wood, cut the trunk, and what did we do in the old days when we cut that wood with the axe? We just cut it enough where we can for the size of the drum that it is, and then we would put coal, like firewood, the coal of the firewood. We would put it on top of that trunk right there, so that the fire can burn down. So it takes a couple days in those days before electronics and modern technology kick in. It took a while to make a Garifuna drum,
Mm.
because you had to put fire so that the fire can burn the inside, and but and that was it takes time. And then you have the skin of the animal. It can be a deer skin, it can be a cow, or and you take that, you take the fur off, and then you put it in the sun to dry, and then you cut it out into a circle, and that's what you put on top of one end of the drum, the one end of the the trunk. And then you put ties, the branches of some trees. They're very flexible. You can bend them, and then you tie it around, and then you tighten it with ropes, or you put nails and stuff like that to make our drums. We use nails. We use we call it, how you call it, a metal wire, and those knobs that you see, they tighten the drum, the the skin of the drum, so that you can get the acquired tone that you want as a drummer.
Mhm. So
So that's
almost like a tuning, like it
tuning. Yeah, it's a
sort
tuning
tunes
peg.
it.
They're
Mhm.
tuning pegs. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what I just explained to you was how a drum was made in those days, in ancient time. But today, if you go to Dangriga, they have data. Mr. Rodriguez, Aston Rodriguez's daughter, she is doing it now using machine. Now with that drum, if you look at how big that drum is, data now can cut that drum to a certain thickness, and then she can still, when she's finished cutting that, then she can still cut another drum out of that. Okay, so you can get like at least 3 or 4 drums out of that right there. But in those days, you could only get one.
Mhm.
But today you can get 4 out of that. Garon.
Yeah, that's what you call innovation. Find
Yes,
a way
exactly.
to,
And
yeah.
the sustainable living too,
Mhm.
because we're protecting our environment, and that's what we are known. We are known to be very sustainable. So when these people are talking about the sustainable development goals, and the ozone layers in the that is affecting us, heating the earth and all that stuff, if that, we were not doing that. We were compliant. Us indigenous people, we were compliant to climate change. Why they have climate crisis today? Okay, I just want to interject that. It's not our cause. Mama Wadigalir.
Mhm. Mhm. Right, so this photo shows a school and children doing
Okay.
um, an
Well, that looked like,
activity.
yeah, that looked like it's a performance. It looks like it's a performance, or they can be probably marching too. It looks like, I want to think that that's the school in Hopkins, the Sacred Heart School in Hopkins.
Actually, it's Gulisi, Gulisi in Dangrega.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I got caught up. It really looked like the Sacred Heart. But anyway,
Mhm.
anyway, okay, it's Golisi, so I can tell that it's a Garifuna school. The minute you mentioned Golisi, because I know that for a fact, and they're sporting their flag. So it's an occasion. You can say they're having a fedu, if they're marching and playing drums. They're um, you know, Hafeduhaya.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they have their outfits on, their Garifuna dashiki. They have their you know, it might not necessarily be yellow, black, and white, but they do look African because we're also part of Africa. We're also derived from Africa, so it's a Garifuna function, and
Mm-hmm.
it looks beautiful.
Yeah, yes, it does.
Hafeduhaya Garinok
Right. Celebration, Garifuna
celebration, yeah.
are celebrating. And how do we say school in Garifuna?
La escuela.
La escuela.
Ayaha Tigibugan La Escuela. They're in front of a school and they're celebrating. They could be singing, they could be marching. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that it is either singing or marching because they got the drummers playing.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah,
and this one is showing clearly a teacher in a
yeah,
classroom
yeah,
with her
yeah.
students, and she's talking, and they have, all their focus on her.
Yep, Ayaha Tida La Escuela. The building where they're in is La Escuela school. And the students Iranian they're learning how friend they're in, right? They're learning, and then the teacher arufudahat. If it's a teacher, if it's a female arufudahatu, that means a female teacher, and if it's a male arufudahati, it's a male teacher,
Hmm.
and they're engaged. They look like they're well behaved, and that's a good thing because nowadays they got children going to school. They want to disrespect the teachers, and then they in turn, don't learn because they feel like they know more than the teacher. Anyway, I'm just diverting.
Hmm.
Oh, that's the iconic Pal Nabor, the late great Pal Nabor. With his gidara, Tauli gidara, right? So he's probably there posing on stage, singing his famous song, Banda. Okay, Libunidi, his hat.
Hmm. Late great Paul Nabor. May
Yeah,
he rest in peace.
that's right.
Great
Right,
Parandero.
Parandero. Yeah, like he said, Lauba la Banda Habunana.
That's right. That's right.
And that song is literally talking about Paul when he's claiming that he's merry, he's sick in bed, and he's telling his son or his daughter that when the time comes for the good Lord to call him, that he want to go with a band.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So this is meant to represent the Garifuna language for those of us who are seeing or hearing it for the first time. I use this song by Ande Palacio,
yeah, this is
Amuyego,
nothing.
right? And so I'm just gonna play like a little snippet of it, just for those who are not familiar with it.
Yeah, can I read? I can try to read it so that they can. You see, because that's another thing, Dorette.
Hmm.
Why it's crucial that when you write in Garifuna, you also have to have the English or the Spanish. I would recommend that you also put the English or Spanish meaning under or in somewhere in your book right beside the other, so that those who don't know how to read the Garifuna, they can read the English or Spanish and understand. But with the intention that they still need to take their time to learn how to read in Garifuna, which is their original tongue. Like
Hmm.
in this case, Kaba Funasa Anuga Wabute Amuyege, and that Kaba Funasa Anuga wabute amuyega. That's basically he's asking a question. Who's gonna kabafunasa anuga wabute? Who's gonna get the or make the cassava bread in the future? Kabafunasa anu ayanuha garifuna numa amuyega. Who is going to speak Garifuna with me in the future? Kaba Funasa, Aruma Hanuma Amuyega. Who's going to Arumaha is a traditional Garifuna a cappella music where the men hold the pinky of their hand and then they start, leaning forward and they start singing a cappella without no instrument. So that's what Andy is asking. Who's going to Arumaha or sing the men way of singing with me in the future? Kaba Funasa Aduraha Wow Adugura Hawao Amuyegu, who's going to initiate take charge of being in the temple, to go to do our due diligence in the temple. Who's going to help me in the future doing that? So these are some serious questions that Andy was asking in this song Amuyegu. Okay. Chuluhada lo la da home. The time has come to save, to procure, to safeguard, to preserve. Okay, that's what Andy is saying. Chuluhada lo la rufa da home. It's time to teach it. Okay, and this is serious conversation here. Chuluhada lo la da home, and he repeated, it's time to save it, to preserve it. Faidi wayani, right? Fredi Wayani Gumugube. Because if we don't teach it, if we don't save it, if we don't preserve it, if we don't safeguard it, we're gonna lose it. Okay, so this is powerful. This was in one of his this was one of his song in the album Watina. I called out that
Mhm.
that was that that was made, put Garifuna and Belize on the map
And the
because
World
of
Stage,
Andy.
that's right, and the Palash
Exactly.
and the
So
Garifuna
so
Collective.
so so we need to not forget that. Every
Mhm.
children, every Garifuna child supposed to know this in the school. They should be teaching this right here in the school. These kids supposed to know how to sing this song because this is gonna remind them that they need to keep the Garifuna culture alive. This is what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Okay? So this is down my alley.
Mhm. Mhm. And for those who don't know, what's the word for Garifuna language?
For Garifuna language,
The Garifuna word for
Garifuna word for language, okay, I would say Demure.
Lemure. And
Demure,
then
yeah,
he
the
said
word.
Demure Garifuna.
Demure,
Demure.
yeah, you could say Demure Garifuna word. Yeah, Demure Lidan Garifuna.
Mhm.
Sometimes what happened, Dorette, if you say Garifuna word, you have to say it in full, especially when you put it into Garifuna. Demure Lidan Garifuna.
Demure
Right?
Lida Garifuna.
You got to say that.
Mhm.
Demure Garifuna. You could, I guess you can say that too. Demure Garifuna. Yeah.
Well, just play like a couple seconds of the song. Those who haven't heard the song before.
Say that. I couldn't hear you, Derek.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. What did you say?
I said I'm going to play like a couple seconds of the song for those who
Oh,
have not heard the song.
yeah. No problem.
Okay, so let's do this.
Gaba funasa anyega wabute amunyega Gaba funasa ayanu hagari funa numa amunyega Gaba funasa aruma hanuma o amunyega Gaba funasa adugraha wawo amunyege Julu halidanu la reida ho Julu halidanu la rufuda ho Julu halidanu la reida ho Bedi wayali kumukubaye
All right, so that's the song by Andy Palacio and the Garifuna Collective. Amuyego.
Amuyeg.
Amuyego. Amuyego.
Amuyeg.
Amuyego.
Amuyeg. In times to come, or in the
In times
future.
to come. And I think this song, like you said, is, very powerful. And I think it was a wake up call for a lot of us, you know, and it definitely inspired a lot of people to do more, to do more to help preserve the culture, the language, the music, the dance.
Yeah, oh, I have to say, let me interject about that, Doret, because Andy has, Andy is still doing his part. The
Yeah.
fact that he's not with us and he's gone to our maker, the fact that his music speaks volumes.
Hmm.
It's like I said, it sounds like his music that needs to be taught in the schools. Every child, every Garifuna child, from Punta Gorda to Corozal, they need to be injected with positive Garifuna lyrics like what Andy created and produced, and that is and I would ask as many Garifuna artists to emulate the same, because it doesn't make sense that they have this talent, and then they're singing songs that is not conducive to learning and that is derogatory, and it really doesn't make sense. So if they listen to Andy and they want to emulate what Andy was all about, I feel like this is how they need to go.
Hmm. I agree with you,
Yeah,
Leonardo.
yeah.
All right, so that's you, right?
Is it? You found me hiding somewhere. I think that was an interview. I've done so many. I don't even know where was that. Wait, do you know where that was?
We're about to find out. I'm pretty sure when because I'm gonna play a snippet of it. But for
Okay.
those who don't know, what's the Garifuna word for singing?
Aremu aremuha aremuha. That is to sing aremuha, right? Aremuhani is singing.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So this is I'm gonna play a snippet of this interview I found on YouTube of you.
Okay.
For those, okay, so I'm gonna switch.
Tomorrow, when we cannot work no more, our children, don't neglect our children. They are the leaders of tomorrow. When we cannot work no more. Wow. You know,
Uh-huh.
So is it clear? Is it
Yeah.
clearer to you now?
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's well, I better recognize my song, and that's an original song of mine. The name of that song, Magura Baya Bisani. Don't, and it literally translates, don't neglect your children. So that was the English version of that song. It goes in Garifuna, Aba kate susere tile mi sebenu. Whoa, 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 Gary Tituni Nanige. Abakate susereti le mi sebeinu. Yeah, yeah, Burugwalo muti nanige. Abuhaya malubuidu bidane. Begi batu. Sungli dada. Abuhaya malubuidu bibagare. Nibarita gu hawagu bu familia. Anu he bugu shu yara dangriga. A sufrirá, oh, a sufrirá. Anu he bumare yara indura. A sufrirá, hamadisi bisanigo. Bisanigo, bisanigo. Magurabaya. Bisanigo. Hagia bayi daraguabu tutemeye. Damesia bawadigi marido. That's basically.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that. So, when it comes to, you know, I know you're a composer, meaning you write your songs, you write your own
Yes.
songs.
Yes.
How can you walk us through that process from like thinking of a concept or thinking of an idea for a
Okay.
song? How
Very
does it
good.
work for you from bringing it
Ve-
to an idea to, performing it there on stage?
Very good. Okay. Do you want the long version? No, I'm not. I'm gonna. You see, because that's right under my belt. Okay. Especially talking about being creative. And in my own, that's my world. Okay. If I, if I can take a hook, and a hook is like a one little sentence in a song. Like let me give you an example. Like when I did Kabasanumari, right? I was working in the police band, and I was coming home. I was coming home, and it just out of the blues, it just came to my mind, and I said, Kabasanumari, dame namaredo. That's what I asked myself, right? And then right away the melody came, and I just find the melody came, and I said, Kabasanu Marima, Damena Maredo, right? And I just kept singing that little hook, that little thing, that question. I just kept singing it, singing it, singing it. And then I told myself, you know what? I'm gonna answer it. And then I start thinking, right? Like uh, I'm looking. I want a woman who's going to be there for me. So so I'm thinking, okay, uh, when I look at a nun, right? When I look at the characteristic of a nun, she is or a saint. I start with a saint. The characteristic of a saint is she is devoted and dedicated to do God's work. So I would want a woman to be dedicated and devoted to me. Okay, that's one. And when I look at a nun, she also is dedicated to God and to do his work on earth. And I would want a woman with that characteristic also. Basically, I want a woman with a good heart. That was what I want. Aba hiaro to buiti tosa. So I answered the question. Aba sando, aba moha, aba hiaro to buiti tosa. Right? So that answered that first question, and I answered it. I'm looking for a woman who's like a saint, who's like a nun, and who has a good character. And I will do everything to be with that woman, because I'm gonna be just as good to her as she's good to me.
Mhm,
Okay, so And then that's one verse, and then the next one came Kabasanega Lamadin, right? What am I gonna eat because I'm hungry? And then again, I answered that. I start thinking, how can I answer this? So I thought about hudutu, right? And then I start putting in the ingredients. Anuha baruru tugubo faluma. Aniha uduro, right? Anuha baruru luma buya mura tugubo faluma tubuya huduto, right? So it was that's how I get creative. And that's just one way. That's just one way, because another way of creating, you can you can just have the lyrics. You can just have the lyrics. You can be writing down the lyrics, right? Something come to you, you see something, or something came to your mind, and you write it down. Buiti biabi, like in my case with Buiti biabi. Buiti biabi lo babelo hawama. Buiti biabi lo bafedo hawama. Aniha fedu ya wongo sungube. Buiti biabi lo babelo hawama. Simple. Okay, and then sometimes the lyrics come, and then you have to find a melody for it, for the song, or for the lyrics, or the melody comes, and then you put lyrics to it.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's so many ways, and in rare occasion, they have this philosophy in our Garifuna culture, where even if you're not a singer, or if you don't do music, okay, you can still you can still come up with music. They call it Icha Hawargut.
Mm.
It was given. It's something where you would go to sleep, or anybody in your family would go to sleep, and then in a dream, an ancestor would come to you in your dream, and then they would sing a song to you in your dream, and then you would get up the next morning, even though you're not a singer, but you somehow, some kind of you know spiritual connection or whatever, you will remember the lyrics and you will remember the tune. And the only way that song will live on and on forever, you have to sing it into the air so other people can hear it. And so that's why in our Garifuna culture, songs that were given, each a Howard Gutibu, you don't. It's not necessarily. You don't even. You don't necessarily have to claim that song as yours either, because if it was given to you, it's not yours, and it was given to you to share, so that it can be for everybody. So that song is for everybody. Each a Howard it.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's only resonate and rest in our Garifuna culture, because when it comes to the world, the European world, the Western world, that person who came up with that song, even if it was given to them in a dream, if they can copyright that song, and they can make some money off it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, so that can be conflicting with some traditional Garifuna people who would claim and say, "Oh, Mama Biremule, Mafai Ruba di Buluagu.
Mhm.
It's not your song. You're not going to get paid for it."
Mhm.
I beg to differ, because if you're a musician, and that's your livelihood, you're providing a service. You need to be paid for it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. So this is the other photo showing Garifuna people celebrating at an event.
Yeah, that's another Fedu. It appears as a Fedu because I see the Primero and I see the Segundo, the two Garifuna drums. I can even identify Vincent Servio as the Primero drummer, and I forgot the guy who played the Segundo right there. And there's a Maracas, Cicera. Yeah, they're in their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Hafedo haya. Hafedo
Mm-hmm.
haya gigi ha.
Mm-hmm. And Garifuna people in Garifuna.
Yeah, it looks like that. That's definitely New York.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah. And for it, how would we say Garifuna people in Garifuna?
Garinagu. Yeah,
Garinagu.
Garinagu. Yeah, when it's plural, when you say Garifuna people, it's Garinagu. But if it was one person, you would say that's a Garifuna. Garifuna.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pero when it's more than one, when it's plural, it's Garinagu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ayangata Garinagu. You could say ayaha Garinagu.
Mm-hmm. Ayaha, ayaha Garinagu.
That's right. Okay, I think that's Aurelia Martinez and one of my friend. Her name is Dorina, the one in the yellow, black, white, black and yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. Who is that? She
That's
looks like that.
Gwen Eunice Gonzalez.
Oh, okay. I think she's probably working and was signing her book
Mm-hmm.
in New York. So you were
Mm-hmm.
there.
I was there. I was there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
Aurelia
there.
is another outstanding Garifuna artist from Honduras. You know, he has been representing Garifuna worldwide. So, enough respect for Aurelia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is meant to represent writing. What would be writing be the Garifuna word for writing?
Well, Aburuhani, riding. Aburuhani. Okay.
Burhan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Aburuhani, riding. Yeah, Garifuna Dictionary.
Mm-hmm.
The People's Garifuna Dictionary. That's Roy Caetano, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what does the Garifuna dictionary mean to you?
Well, that's you know that's a way of preserving. That's a way of retrieving and safeguarding our language. When you can document something and then you can put it away and you can go back to it and for referencing, then that's a good thing. It's also a tool where children who don't know how to speak Garifuna can go into the People's Garifuna Dictionary, because I know it's a bilingual dictionary. It has the Garifuna and the English,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, things like this, when Garinago people are writing books to 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 aid anybody who don't know how to speak Garifuna to speak Garifuna using the tools that they are creating now. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I can also mention, now that we're at the Garifuna Dictionary with Roy, I can also mention a trilingual Garifuna dictionary with Ruben Reyes. Okay, Ruben Reyes came out with
Mm-hmm.
a Garifuna dictionary, and it's English, Spanish, and Garifuna, which I think it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Do you know where people can get a copy?
Uh, I got mine from Ruben, but that's a while back. I don't know if he. You just have to Google Ruben Reyes. Google him. He's probably on the internet. He was instrumental in bringing that movie, that docu movie, Garifuna in Peril, from in
Wow.
Honduras.
Mm-hmm.
It was based in Honduras, and the bottom line, the climax was, or the conflict there was land issues with the what's still happening in Honduras right now. So many
Mm-hmm.
Garifuna leaders are being assassinated in Honduras because
Wow.
they are advocating for, and they are not sitting down to let these rich business people and the government personnel to politicians to come and displace and dislocate them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's serious issues that is happening in our Garifuna, to our Garifuna people, direct all over when it comes to Honduras. There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of civil, there's a lot of human rights violation caused upon our people. and we need to we need to advocate. We need to talk. We need to raise our voice. We need to protest. We need to do whatever so that we can bring global attention to the injustices that is taking place to our people in Honduras. Okay,
Mhm.
and also in Nicaragua. For your information, it's very, very, you know, it's a dilapidated state for Garinagu people in Nicaragua, Bluefield, and other area in Nicaragua because of the government right now, at this present moment. There are
Mhm.
Garifuna men who are being killed, Garifuna women who are being killed, and out of for no reason at all. It's unbecoming, and we are just sitting down. Yeah, well, okay, let me not digress, Dorrit. Let me not
Mhm.
digress. But we need to. That's where Aubu Amurino comes into effect. If something happened to our people in Honduras or something happened to our people in Nicaragua, we need to voice. We need to raise our voice. We need to put them on the spotlight. And sometimes it's going to take us from Belize because some people in Honduras and Nicaragua, they might be scared for their life.
Mhm.
The government or people might come after them, yeah, and then take them out. So since we're here in America and we're in Belize, we should mobilize and let the world know that we are one people. But I'm not seeing that. It's so sad, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm not seeing
Hopefully,
that.
hopefully, having more people seeing, you bringing up this issue that it is an issue, because not all of us know about it, because I didn't know about it.
Yeah, you see,
Hopefully this will, mobilize and motivate more people to join the cause and, fight for
yes,
people over there.
and I'm gonna be honest to you, Dorette. That's the reason why I'm gonna advocate, until the good Lord calls, because I feel like some of our people, they the strength, that fight that our ancestors have in Urume, it's not in our people today.
Hmm.
Our people are so docile. They would let a foreigner come into our community and do whatever they want with us, and we would just stand there. There's no more fight in us to say no. If you touch one, you have to touch all. Sometimes we have to talk like that, but that is not happening today. The Garifuna men and women, they would stand up, they would say nothing, they would look the other way, even though their own people are being taken advantage of. We don't have that camaraderie. We don't have that Aubu Amurno. We talk it, but then we're not doing it. It becomes useless, the motto, and so but I feel like one way to fight, like in my case, is to empower the children, because I know that people are set in their ways. Like I told you earlier in this interview, the adults are set in their ways. Some of them, they don't care about nobody. They only focusing on survival. They are focused on making that money where they can eat and their children can eat, and I think they because they're only focusing on that, everything else doesn't matter, and that is the cause of our demise. The fact that we don't care about each other. We need to be interdependent. We need to look out for each other. We need to be there for each other. We need to say no. We can say no together as one. A group of us come together and stand up and say no. Let the injustice stop now, because if we just sit down and let it happen, it's not gonna stop.
Mhm.
It's not gonna stop. So what I do, as much as I do music, but I also instill a sense of pride. I also teach Garifuna history to my musical students so that they can, because that is the power. The power is knowing your history. Because if you don't know your history, and if you're only given false education, if you're only being indoctrinated, then you will fight for the wrong cause. You will fight for the stuff that is not right, even if it's not good for you, but you will not know because you're brainwashed already. That's reality.
Mhm.
I'm talking, true talk here.
Mhm.
I'm not lying to you. And sometimes, some people will try to enemy you because you're speaking the truth. Sometimes the truth, people don't like to hear it.
Mhm.
They want to be in the lie. They want to be in the, in that state where they're at, docile, dormant, zombie.
Mhm.
You know? And we were independent. Why can't we be independent again? Why are we dependent? Anyway, I don't want to go there, Derek. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's forward. um. So other than what we've spoken about, your musical talents, your singing, your writing, your Garifuna advocacy, teaching the kids the language through music. What other talents or hobbies do you engage in when you're not doing all those things?
Ah, wow. Good question. Good question. I think you know, I'm a family man. I'm a married man. So, I do things with my wife. I do family work. But but still, as much as I say that, I still feel like I'm more complete. I feel more complete when I'm doing stuff for to uplift and to mobilize the Garifuna culture.
Mhm.
I feel like I there's nothing that is pleasing to me apart from my family, where I'm comfortable at home, and everything is set at home. And once everything is set at home, then my focus is to do and think about whatever. And it has nothing to do with violence. It has nothing to do with conspiracy. It has nothing to do with anything negative. It's all positive. It's all about empowerment. It's all about bringing pride back, into our Garifuna people.
Mhm.
And as much as I pray and hope that the adults, will wake up and see when they see something good, because you will know as an adult, you will know when something is good and when something is not good, direct.
Mhm.
So so there's no need for me to go and argue one, or to go and persuade or convince an adult. I rather take that energy and spend quality time with children, those who don't know, and those who need it most. Because if you don't catch the child, if you don't teach that child about himself or herself, if you don't teach that child about his language, his history, then we're gonna lose that child forever.
Mhm. You're
That
putting
that
them at
that's
a
how eh,
disadvantage.
that's how I see it. So I rather spend quality time with the children, because I, I- I'm I feel like I'm helping them, even if it's a minute, even if it's a small assistance. I'm still
Mhm.
helping.
Mhm.
That's how I feel.
Okay.
Yeah, and on top of that too, I also uh, I do a lot of things direct, but they're not completely out yet. Okay, there's a lot of things that I have under my in my archives, because
Mhm.
I have at one point a couple of years ago, I mentioned to you about books, Garifuna books,
Mhm.
because at one point I realized that they didn't have Garifuna books abundantly like that for Garifuna children. So I ventured in writing some books for children. So I have believe it or not, but I have like 4 books all ready to
What?
publish. Yeah, all ready
We're
to
waiting.
publish.
We're waiting, James. We're waiting.
I have, and with me, I do it bilingual. I put the Garifuna, and I put the English, and then I put pictures. And most of my stories is from a Garifuna perspective.
Mhm,
Okay, that's me.
mhm,
I will always I will always tell my story, and I'm a storyteller too. I
mhm,
can tell stories, and when I do that, I I tell stories from a Garifuna perspective.
mhm,
Even if I'm speaking in English, because I do a lot of storytelling to English people here. Ibidete Garifuna Holo na Dima Halida Garifuna, so I have to
mhm,
say it in English. But the philosophy, the way how I look at life perspective is from a Garifuna lens. So we have our philosophy, we have our way of saying things, doing things, and I try to bring that out in my storytelling. It's
okay.
awesome.
Yes, it is. We're waiting. Like I said, we're waiting.
Yeah,
Yeah. Once it's out, let me know because we're waiting.
yeah, yeah. And now that we're on what I'm doing uh, with music, I have opened up the to more to more. To more music in a sense and genre, so to speak, because after I was commissioned with Mr. Palacio when he gave me those nursery rhymes, I I add more I add more to what he gave me. So there's a lot of nursery rhymes that I still need to bring out to go to the studio to bring out so that I can make it readily available to the children, especially in schools.
Mhm,
So that's a project by itself, nursery rhymes, Garifuna nursery rhymes. Then
mhm,
I have songs that I translate. Another thing that I'm doing, and you probably heard or seen, heard some of my music when it comes to translating English songs into Garifuna. Like,
mm.
like this song, One Day at a Time. You're familiar with One Day at a Time, right?
Yes. Yes.
I,
I would
I did
say
that in
to have
Garifuna.
like funerals or memorials.
Yeah, I do that in Garifuna. Suwada Sakuwe Yobungi Yobaba. That's One Day at a Time. And I do I've done a lot of songs. So I look at that as a project also because my one of my commitment ever since I started, I might not be out there yet with the music to go in the studio, but I've committed to translate an album that is like 10 to 12 songs every year to convert these English songs, English gospels, and religious music into Garifuna, just to add to our Garifuna discography. So that's a project by itself. The nursery rhymes. I have my original music. Like Kabasanu Mari. I don't know if you heard Kabasanu Mari. That's an album that I made I wrote that, and then I have several more that I need to again bring out. So I have a lot of work doing. I So maybe that's the reason why you don't see me out like
Mm,
I when I used to be out one time because I learned to I learned to pick my battles now. I There's no need for me to be out there like I used to be because you know uh, that I have a lot of work. I have
mhm,
a lot of work, and so I need to focus on doing it.
mhm,
My people will still hear me. They will still get the best of me because I believe that I'm committed to what I'm doing. I've been doing this, even when I was not getting paid to do it, but it's because of the love of it. And,
mhm,
and now, I think I've paid my dues. And when I go performing now, I have to say I'm demanding my payment. I'm demanding my respect.
Of course. I mean, you've earned it. You've
Yeah.
earned it. All that you've learned, all that you have experienced,
Yeah.
all the work, and energy and love that you've put into your craft,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
not an overnight thing. It took
Yes.
years. It took years
That's
to
correct. That's correct.
exactly. So,
So I have to say that with all that, they still have not got the best of James Lovell yet. There's a lot brewing. There's a lot coming.
okay.
But
Well,
but I
I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to it. So, good luck to you and of all that thank you for all that you've done, all that you're continuing to do, and all that's to come. We're looking forward to
Cereme,
more.
Cereme, thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course, of course. All right, so I want to play one more snippet of this concert, another concert I found, and this gave me sort of like a well-rounded you know, understanding or a little bit more insight into what you do or what I've heard that you do and what we've, been discussing so that people have a visual and audible sense of what you do,
Yeah,
or what you've
that
been doing.
doing. Yeah, that was me performing at the Smithsonian in Washington D.C.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
All
was
right.
for Black History Month in February.
Okay, so let's switch to this.
That I've been bestowed with or given by my ancestors and my parents. And I'm giving it back to the children because that's continuity. So, thank you. So, what I usually do, I do a Garifuna language retrieval program. Usually go to Belize, go to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Who's from St. Vincent and the Grenadines? Let me see by a show of hands. You can say, yeah. See, so what happened, I usually go to Honduras, to Belize, I usually go to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to teach the language using music as a medium. And believe it or not, all of you, I'm going to leave you with a gift. And this gift will be a song in Garifuna that you will learn right now, believe me. I don't want you to think that you can't do it. Open your minds, ladies and gentlemen. No walls, no barriers. No walls, no barriers, okay? I want you to repeat after me. They know it. They all know it. I want you to know it, okay? I want you to repeat after me. Barumu Guya Sanyo. Let me hear that. Barumu Guya Sanyo. Let me hear that. Take your time. You can do it. I'm hearing it, but I need a little more passion. Barumu Guya. Let me hear that. Sanyo. Nati one. Nati one. Oh, Holly, where you? Oh, Holly, where you? Iyura Guwaba. Let me hear that. Iyura Guwaba. You think they have it? You think they have it? Okay, now we're going to take it up a notch. Okay, listen carefully, listen carefully. Barumugu Yasayong. Let me hear that. Barumugu Yasayong. Natiwa. Natiwa. Oh, Holly, where you? Oh, Holly, where you? Iyura Guaba. Iurakuaba.
Wow, that's amazing.
So what are these moments like for you when you're able to, do such performances?
I'm gonna be honest to you. I feel like my psyche. I feel like my psyche, my soul just shift to the side of me, and then another ancestor come in into me and transform me into what I am on that stage. It's like it's not me. It's like somebody else, but I'm having fun. I'm aware. It's like my ancestors are using me, and I love it.
And do you think do people come to you like say like after this event? Do
Oh
people
yeah,
come to you and say, James, thank you so much for
yes, yes,
introducing me to your language, your
yes,
culture. I
yes,
am
yes,
so, grateful to you. And now I know some words. I can go to my friends and family and
yes.
talk a little bit about the Garifuna people, their language, their music, their culture.
Yeah, that's part of the reward. That's part of the reward I get. And that's what I guess that's what propelled me. You see, because even though, like I told you, in the beginning, they were they were very. It was a hard. It was hard, Dorette, coming up and being where I am today now with my music in my music career. If I wasn't working as in New York as a teacher, or doing that to bring food, to bring money in a consistent basis to survive in New York with my family, I I would probably not be doing music today. I would probably not do music today, but I was passionate. I was strong. I was really strong in doing it. So even though I was doing it on the side as a hobby, I was doing it in a way where I know that in the end, in the longer run, I will be taking charge. I will be in control of my music and of what I have done for all my time in this music industry. There's a lot that I need to learn, and I'm not ashamed to say that there's a lot that I don't know. But when it comes to doing music theory, when it comes to knowing my Garifuna history, when it comes to you know um, writing songs in a positive way, I and talking about writing songs again, another thing that propels me are children. Believe it or not, children, because I will not pen a song if there's any dirty lyrics in it. I will not pen a song is if there's anything vulgar in it, because I want that whenever I pen a song, and I'm talking about me, James Lovell, I want to be known as that artist who who um who have clean lyrics. I want to be known as that artist who have a message in all his music. And if you go back and you can Google me and go back, you will not see me, like out of my character. I'm always walking right. I have my head on my shoulder. I sorry. I don't I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. So I'm always sober. I'm always aware. So I feel like I need to do that because there are so many ways how Garifuna artists and Garifuna musicians are portrayed, simply because they're given rum to as payment, and then you see them drinking and getting drunk. I don't want that. That's not what I want. I want to be treated as a professional. and that's the reason why I walk and talk like a professional as best as I can.
Mhm.
Okay, and so when it comes to writing my lyrics, it's the children that guides me because I want that when they sing my song, they can sing it in the church, they can sing my song in at home, they can sing it in the schools, they can sing it anywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. So can you talk about how this opportunity came to be and what was it like preparing for this moment?
You're talking about this interview, this meeting with you?
No, the performance you did at the Smithsonian for Black
Oh,
History Month.
well, that is from that I that is from years of experience. I feel like I am I feel like I have what it takes after so many mishaps, after so many struggle to get to where I am today. So moving forward, I just need to have my I just need to work with my musicians. I have to put in rehearsals with them because it's not like we are together all the time. So when I have a gig, I would get my musicians together. They would have to do one or two practices so that we can be on the same page. And then I do my work. I do my work before. I would pick the songs, my repertoire, which song I'm gonna pick, and then I'm gonna look for the message in the song, and then I'm gonna explain that to the audience so that they can know because I will be singing in English, in Spanish, Garifuna, and they don't know what I'm singing. So I explain to them first what I'm singing, and so that when I sing, it makes sense.
Mhm.
They can just reminisce or think about what I just said, and then they can probably see the emotions and the drums and the dancing, that can help send the message home.
Mhm. Yeah, and
Yeah.
how did this opportunity come about? You being able to perform at the Smithsonian in Washington.
Well, well, it's my reputation, direct. I've performed in high places. I can honestly say that because I was singled out to perform with the Philharmonic on several occasions in New York, and when it comes to the Smithsonian, I performed with the Smithsonian for several times also, simply
Mhm.
because they heard of me, they've seen my work, and they like how I fuse music, how I fuse education with entertainment,
Mhm.
and they saw videos of me, so they contacted me, and it's me. Everything goes through me. I didn't have a manager. There was no need because I wasn't doing music full time, but the more I see myself, especially now, maybe I might start trying to see if I can get a manager to manage most of the work I do because I can't. I when you look at it, if I'm teaching the children, if I'm teaching, take for example what I did something in Dangriga the other day. I didn't even mention that. I went to Dangriga in January, and I was able to work with 15 children in Sacred Heart School, and I
Mhm.
taught them how to play the recorder, this
Wow.
instrument right here.
Mhm.
They
I
they
learned
and
that in primary
yeah,
in primary school
and,
too.
and I also taught them how to read and write, how to read music.
Ah.
So if you Google, if you have the time to Google Gimme, Gymi, in Dangriga, if you have the time to Google Gymi in Dangriga, you'll probably see those kids and hear them play some songs that I taught them, and it's amazing. In two
Mhm.
months, those kids were able to learn how to read music, and I was able to teach them how to play the recorder. And they did a concert at Anglican Church, April 7th. Plus, they were chosen to go to the Bliss Institute to perform in Belize City. That's amazing. All
Oh
that
yeah.
is all that is Garifuna excellence, you know, because 9 out of 10 you will hear negative stuff with one of our Garifuna boy or several of our Garifuna boys or girls, getting into becoming victims, dying in the streets because of gang, and going to jail and stuff like that. But you don't hear about the good things, you know give me it, it was wonderful. Those kids, they're amazing.
Mhm.
They're amazing. Our kids are no joke. They just need to be in the right environment.
Mhm. Mhm.
Our children just need to be in the right environment, and they can blossom and flourish like any other kid out there.
Mhm. Alright. Sir, my James. Thanks for
No,
being who you are and what you do. And
no problem,
I
Dorit. And I
believe
really,
you're changing the world and changing the way how we see, ourselves and our abilities to learn the language and
yeah,
starting with the little ones, they
yeah,
and setting the foundation per se
yes,
for them. So
yes.
that's a
I'm
beautiful thing.
I'm doing the best I can, D, with what God gave me,
Mhm.
and they have. I also have to say that I have some very good friends who encourage me. They would give me a word of advice. So I'm not going to rule that out. The
Mhm.
fact that I'm being encouraged, I'm also being encouraged by the children, them learning, and I see the fruits of my labor. And I believe that eventually, we're gonna mobilize as to the point where we can realize our full potential by doing for ourselves.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
starting to believe that you know waiting for the government and anywhere we are, while we're waiting, we're supposed to be working too on our own. I believe that.
I agree with that. Because you could sit and wait. It may never
Exactly.
happen. But if you're
Exactly.
trying to do something to
Exactly.
help yourself or work towards the vision that you
It,
have, it's possible.
that's right.
It is
And that's
possible.
me. And that's me. And
Hmm.
I don't care if it looks impossible. I don't care if the challenge is huge. I am not going to give up because I still have the breath. I still have breath in me. I still have life in me. The only when the good Lord called on me, there's nothing I will be able to do after that. But while I'm here on earth, I will do whatever I can to bring to instill or to bring some kind of encouragement to one child or to two child or to 100 or as many as possible.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've spoken about a lot and you've shared a lot. But
Yeah, that's
is there anything in terms of a year from now or 5 years from now, one of the undertaking, one of your, projects per se that you are thinking of doing, a year from now or
well
5 years
well
from now?
well I'm gonna tell you this, Dorette. I feel like I already started, and I thank God that I already started what I want to do even after I retire, to retire back home in Belize. I I have a connection with St. Vincent. I go to St. Vincent every year in August, except this year we are not going because of Beryl, the hurricane that devastated Urume, St. Vincent. So my contacts, they gonna postpone the Habina Hagarinago until 2025. So
Mhm,
I won't. We're not gonna be doing Habina Hagarinago this year in St. Vincent, and I'm gonna be. I am so proud to let you know that I started what I wanted to do when I retired to when I live in Belize, when I live back in Dangriga. I started this program where I'm teaching children in Sacred Heart how to read music and how to play the recorder. I expressed that. So the fact that I started that and I'm not retired yet, it's a good thing because it's like I'm doing a head start.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't want to start instead of starting next year or maybe a year from 2026. It's a lot. It feels it. I feel complete knowing that I started it already,
Mhm.
and they have children who are already reading and playing. So that when I get there in 2025, 26, whatever, those same kids now, I will work with them so that they can work with like a group of 3 or 4 kids so that they can be student teachers.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
what I'm saying here is that we're gonna do for ourselves. We're gonna do for ourselves because if you learn, like I told you earlier, if you learn something in Garifuna, and then now because you learned that, you're gonna take what you learn now and teach it to somebody else. That's empowering you. And those kids who know how to play music and read music now, when they start having their students, that's gonna empower them too. So
Mhm.
that's how it's gonna go. So it's
Mhm.
gonna be a domino effect.
Yeah, it's a cycle of learning.
Yeah. So sooner or later, southern Belize. I'm talking about Dangriga all the way to Punta Gorda, Barranco, Halil Biti Hebe the Garinago, wherever the Garinago people are in southern Belize, they will they will they will get this gift of music from me.
Oh, they're already getting it, James. They are already getting it. It will
Yes, they are.
continue to
It will
spread.
continue.
That's
Yes,
what you
yes,
should say. It will
yes.
continue to spread.
Okay. Yeah, and at the same time, I'm teaching them about their culture and about their history and about their language.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm I am I am very very much motivated. I'm in a good place, Darret. I don't regret everything that I went through in my music career. I feel like it empowered me. I learned from it, and it has put me in a place where I'm taking charge. I'm in control, and I'm gonna do the best I can to have more James Lavells.
Mhm. That's you're doing it, James. You are doing it. Thank you for that. And
Salome, Salome.
just of course, and for those who, you know, are seeing this and may want to enroll their children in such programs in the future, how can they do that?
Well, I will be in Dangriga, so I'm gonna start in Dangriga. So if they are listening, if anybody is interested, they can just go once once they see the kids with learn playing the recorder, they can contact them. They can go to Sacred Heart. They can talk to the principal, Miss Laura van Stuvenberg. They can also talk to Jason Guerrero. He's a music teacher in Dangriga, and I will be there. Uh, I I think in December, and a new intake will I will work with kids this time from as many school as possible, from Gulisi, Holy Ghost, Anglican, Methodist, and I will just convene in an area where they all can meet me because I won't be able to go to each schools,
Right.
but I want them to come to me. And in that
Mhm.
way, if 5 or 6 kids come from each school, when they learn, they can go back to their respective schools
And
and
teach
then
them. Yeah,
and to,
pass it on. Mhm.
exactly.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. Making it bigger and better and you know, having more people involved. That's good.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's great. All right. Next. And how can people connect with you if, they want to know what the latest is in terms of your music and the projects,
I
that are
people
coming out?
people can connect with me on my Facebook. you know, James Lovell. Uh, there's another one, James and Louisa Lovell, that they can, and like I said, me being in Dangriga, I'm an open book. I talk to anybody as long as it's positivity and it's about Garifuna progress. You can approach me anytime. If you see me walking, if you see me whatever, I'm approachable.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for that. That definitely makes a difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, you know, we're only put here for a period of time.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when that time comes, how do you want to be remembered?
Oh
What do you
wow.
want your legacy to be?
Oh wow, very good question, Dorette. You're bringing the most difficult you're saving the most difficult for the last. But again, my forte is music. I will always say that, and I feel like you see like how TV Ramos left November 19th as a means of economic venture for Garinago people, and for them to know their worth in Belize,
Hmm.
their contribution to the progress of Belize. Well, I feel like I said, it means a lot to me starting this music program in Dangriga because that's the beginning of big things. I'm looking forward to incorporating kids from all the villages, all the way to Punta Gorda, Barranco. So you're looking at southern Belize, and but I have to start somewhere. So
Hmm.
because I'm from Dangriga, so that's where I'm going to start from, and I'm hoping that my legacy will be where children will have a place, a sanctuary where they will be able to learn music and for music to be some kind of and to be a full-fledged career where they can live off it comfortably, you know, where they can organize themselves and to travel the world touring and exposing our beautiful culture, and then the monetary reward coming back to them into the Garifuna community. That's the legacy I want to leave.
Hmm. So, James Lovell, thank you so much for joining me, for giving of yourself, for sharing your experiences, for being so open and willing and being such, such an advocate for our culture, our language, our music, for teaching our kids music and, you know, uh, planting the seed
Yeah.
of Garifuna duo in
Sorry
them,
from the world.
you
That's
know,
right. Yeah.
and I think of the possibilities of how you're changing their lives for the future because you are doing that,
So let me.
by just starting with them from their young, it makes
Um,
it makes all the difference.
I appreciate that, Dorette, and like I said, I'm just doing what I believe is need to be done. I'm just doing what needs to be done with whatever knowledge I have acquired in my life here on earth. I I'm doing the best I can. I don't know everything and I'm open. So if anybody out there, if they're listening and they want to assist me in what I'm doing, or if they feel like they can collaborate with me in moving Garifuna to mobilize Garifuna so that we can be that proud and the independent people that we once were before we were uprooted from our homeland Urume and brought to the coastline of Central America, namely Honduras, Guatemala, Nicaragua, and Belize. I feel like I'm open. I'm here. I'm willing to work, especially if it's towards Garifuna and empowerment. I'm following TV Ramos. I'm following You know, I'm following Alejo Beni. I'm following Joseph Chatrier. I'm following, you know, anybody who anybody. Now I might not know their name, but as long as they were fighting for Garifuna empowerment, I want to follow those people. I am right now resting on their shoulder.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm resting on their shoulders because if it wasn't because of them and their perseverance, then it would not be in me. It would not be in me. So I want to thank them. I want to thank my ancestors, most definitely I want to thank God for giving me health, strength, energy, knowledge, everything that I need to keep on keeping on.
Mhm. Okay, and so I want to thank you again, Sir May, Sir May, Sir
Sermon.
May.
Good man.
So I will let you have the last words. Any last words?
I like I said, Doran, I'm open. I'm a servant. I am a pro Garifuna man. I'm very passionate about it. If you if you feel like I can assist, if you feel like I can contribute to whatever you're doing when it comes to Garifuna progress, I am here. I am here. You can reach out to me. You can if you see me walking down the streets of Dangriga, you you you, you don't hesitate to stop me. I will talk with you and I'm here to help. I'm here to be of servants of service. I'm here to be a servant of my people.
Mhm. All right. James
Servant.
Lovell, thank you.
Servant. Ayo.
Ayo.